The sun hung high in the clear blue sky, casting a bright light over the sprawling military training camp. Rows of tents and barracks surrounded a large open field bustling with activity. A sense of anticipation filled the air as 5,000 recruits gathered, ready for an important demonstration that would test their strength and skill. Their hearts raced with excitement and nerves, each young soldier eager to prove themselves worthy of the uniform they wore. As the recruits assembled, their eyes sparkled with determination. Some whispered encouraging words to each other, while others stood in silence, their expressions a mix of excitement and apprehension. The smell of fresh-cut grass mixed with the earthy scent of dirt created a familiar yet electric atmosphere, where every sound, from the chirping of birds to the distant shouts of drill sergeants, added to the tension. In the center of the field stood a large platform, flanked by towering flags that fluttered proudly in the breeze. It was here that both spectators and recruits would witness an event many had anticipated for weeks. A challenge issued directly by the Admiral himself. His presence was larger than life, and rumors had spread about his upcoming demonstration, a display of superiority that promised to be both thrilling and intimidating. As the recruits lined up, they cast curious glances toward the front of the platform. Whispers of admiration flitted around them as they recalled stories of previous encounters with the Admiral. His fierce reputation and commanding demeanor created an aura that intimidated even the most seasoned soldiers. With a commanding voice, the Admiral stepped forward, radiating authority. His sharp uniform creased perfectly down the seams, symbolizing decades of discipline and dedication. The recruits straightened at attention, their excitement mingling with trepidation. Here was a man who could inspire great fear, but also instill a sense of pride. As he raised his hand to call attention, an electric silence fell over the crowd. Everyone held their breath in anticipation for what would unfold next. The atmosphere was charged, like a tightly wound spring ready to release its energy at any moment. Today was not just another day on the training field. It would mark a pivotal moment that no one would forget. The anticipation in the air shifted as all eyes turned to the Admiral, who now stood at the forefront of the gathering. He was a tall man with a commanding presence, his posture straight and proud, radiating authority that seemed to silence even the most anxious recruits. His sharp uniform, adorned with medals and insignia, spoke of years of dedication and sacrifice. The fabric gleamed under the sun, a testament to his unwavering commitment to the military and its values. As he surveyed the gathering, a hush fell over the crowd. It was clear that he commanded both fear and respect. His reputation preceded him. Stories circulated among recruits about his strict methods and high expectations, painting a picture of a leader who demanded nothing less than excellence. Many had heard tales of how he pushed recruits to their limits, believing that true strength emerged only through hardship and perseverance. With a steady gaze, the Admiral focused on the recruits, his piercing eyes seeming to assess each individual. Some felt their hearts race under his scrutiny, while others held their breath, striving to meet his unspoken challenge. It was not just his physical stature that inspired awe. It was the intensity of his presence that made him nearly larger than life. He cleared his throat, and when he spoke, his voice resonated like thunder, echoing across the field. "Today," he announced, You will witness a demonstration of skill and discipline. This is not merely a challenge, it is a lesson in resilience." His words hung in the air, charged with the weight of expectation. Recruits exchanged nervous glances, but also shared a spark of determination. The Admiral's fierce demeanor ignited their own aspirations. They understood that meeting his standards was crucial, for failure under his watch would mean facing not just disappointment, but also his stern discipline. As he prepared to unveil the specifics of the demonstration, excitement mingled with anxiety among the recruits. They knew they were not just spectators. They were participants in a moment that would be etched into their memories forever. The Admiral, with his unwavering confidence and relentless drive, had set the stage for an unforgettable encounter. As the Admiral's voice echoed across the field, he paused for dramatic effect, scanning the sea of eager faces before him. It was then that he made a surprising announcement that sent a ripple of shock through the crowd. "I need a volunteer," he called, his tone unyielding. "I want to see true skill in action. Who among you is brave enough to face me?" A murmur of disbelief spread through the recruits. The Admiral, known for his combat prowess, was challenging someone to fight him in front of all 5,000 spectators. Most felt a wave of tension wash over them, unsure if anyone would dare step forward. But then, from the back of the formation, a young woman with determination in her eyes took a step forward. Her name was Sarah, and she had trained hard for this moment. With her chin held high, Sarah approached the platform. She was smaller than the Admiral, but exuded confidence and strength. The crowd began to buzz with excitement. Some cheered her on while others looked on in disbelief. Had she truly chosen to face off against such an imposing figure? As she reached the designated area, the Admiral raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her bravery. "You think you can take me on?" he challenged, adopting a fighting stance. Sarah nodded firmly, her heart pounding, but her resolve unshaken. She had trained in martial arts for years and was determined to show everyone what she was capable of. The atmosphere shifted from one of uncertainty to one of palpable excitement, as the recruits realized they were about to witness something extraordinary. The Admiral smirked, underestimating her strength and skill. "Very well," he declared. "Let's see how long you last." With that, the fight began. Sarah moved quickly, demonstrating agility and technique that surprised not only the recruits, but also the Admiral himself. Each strike was executed with precision, showcasing her training and commitment. As she dodged his powerful swings, it became clear that this demonstration was no ordinary challenge. It was a fight for respect and recognition. The crowd erupted into cheers as they watched her stand her ground against the formidable Admiral, their excitement growing with each passing moment. Sarah's courage shined brightly as she aimed to prove that true strength comes not just from size, but from heart and skill. With a commanding gesture, the Admiral signaled the start of the fight. The crowd fell silent, tension palpable as all eyes were glued to Sarah and the towering figure before her. She stood ready, feet planted firmly on the ground, her heart racing with both fear and excitement. The Admiral, exuding confidence, smirked at her. He was used to challenges, and he believed that this young recruit would be no different from others he had faced. As the first strike came, it was swift and powerful. The Admiral lunged forward, aiming a punch that could easily knock down a lesser opponent. But Sarah had trained for this moment. She ducked just in time, narrowly avoiding the blow. A gasp echoed through the ranks of recruits as they witnessed her agility. Some cheered her on, while others held their breath in disbelief, unsure if she could withstand the Admiral's might. Determined to prove herself, Sarah quickly countered with a series of strikes of her own. Her movements were fluid and calculated, demonstrating her experience in martial arts. She landed a quick jab to his midsection that surprised him and caused the Admiral to step back slightly, raising an eyebrow in astonishment. That unexpected hit ignited a spark of hope among the recruits. Maybe she could hold her own after all. However, the Admiral was not one to be easily swayed. He regained his composure and advanced with renewed intensity, unleashing a flurry of punches and kicks that showcased his power and speed. Each strike was like thunder, resonating throughout the field. Yet Sarah remained focused and agile. She sidestepped and weaved between his blows with remarkable finesse. The recruits watched with bated breath as the fight unfolded before them. Many felt their adrenaline surge as they cheered for Sarah, the confidence in her growing with each evasive maneuver she made. The atmosphere shifted from disbelief to exhilaration as they began to realize that this was not just another demonstration. It was an inspiring display of courage against an imposing opponent. With every exchange of blows, it became clear that Sarah's skill was far superior to what anyone had anticipated. The Admiral's smirk gradually faded as he started to recognize that she was not just another recruit. She was a fierce competitor who would challenge him in ways he had not expected. As the fight progressed, it became increasingly clear that Sarah was not merely holding her ground. She was strategically turning the tide in her favor. The Admiral, initially confident in his overwhelming strength, began to realize he had underestimated her. With each blow he threw, Sarah responded with remarkable agility, dodging and weaving as if she were dancing around him. The crowd erupted with cheers, their excitement growing as they witnessed her exceptional skill. Sarah executed a flawless combination of kicks and punches, each movement precise and fluid. When the Admiral swung a powerful right hook aimed at her head, she ducked low and spun around to deliver a swift kick to his side, which sent a ripple of shock through the audience. The recruits watched in awe as Sarah's training unfolded before them. It was not just about brute force, but about timing and strategy. She seemed to anticipate the Admiral's every move, reading his body language like an open book. As he advanced with renewed determination, she used his momentum against him. When he lunged forward for another attack, she sidestepped effortlessly and executed a quick throw that caught him off balance. The Admiral stumbled slightly, regaining his footing just in time to see the determined fire in Sarah's eyes. She wasn't just fighting to survive, she was fighting to win. With each passing moment, the tone of the fight shifted dramatically. The recruits began to cheer louder, their adrenaline pumping as they rallied behind her courage and skill. Realizing that brute strength alone would not secure his victory, the Admiral attempted to adjust his approach. He started employing more complicated maneuvers in an effort to regain control, but found himself increasingly frustrated by Sarah's speed and intelligence in combat. She countered each of his attempts smoothly. Every block and parry was executed flawlessly, as if rehearsed countless times. In a pivotal moment of the fight, Sarah saw an opening when the Admiral overextended himself on a punch meant to intimidate her. Seizing the opportunity, she ducked under his arm and delivered a swift knee strike into his midsection, followed by an elbow strike that stunned him momentarily. The crowd erupted into cheers once again as hope surged through them. Sarah had truly become a formidable competitor against someone who once seemed invincible. As sweat dripped from both combatants and tension filled the air, it was clear that Sarah's strategy combined with her resilience had shifted everything in this fight. She stood ready to claim victory against all odds. As the fight wore on, the Admiral's initial confidence began to give way to frustration and anger. Each time he swung his fist, he found himself countered by Sarah's agility and strategy. The realization that he was being outmatched infuriated him, causing his emotions to cloud his judgment. The cheers of the recruits fueled his ire, and he could feel their eyes watching his every move, expecting him to dominate. In a moment of exasperation, the Admiral decided to abandon his calculated approach. He became aggressive, unleashing a reckless barrage of punches and kicks in an attempt to overwhelm Sarah. His strikes were harder and faster, but they lacked precision, the result of his anger blinding his strategy. The crowd watched in a mix of anticipation and concern as they realized that he was now fighting out of desperation rather than skill. Sarah, however, remained composed amidst his fury. She cleverly sidestepped his wild swings and countered with calculated strikes that continued to catch him off balance. Each time he missed, she took advantage of the opportunity, landing quick jabs that kept him on his toes and further fueled his irritation. As Sarah ducked under another wild punch, she could see the fury etched across the Admiral's face. His eyes burned with rage as he charged at her once again, swinging wildly in an effort to regain control of the fight. This reckless aggression only served to fuel Sarah's determination. She had proved herself thus far, and now she was more motivated than ever to show everyone, including the Admiral, that she was not just a recruit, but a worthy opponent. With each failed attack, the Admiral became increasingly enraged, his frustration boiling over into a reckless frenzy. He lunged forward with a powerful kick aimed at Sarah's head, but she dodged easily, causing him to lose his balance. In that moment of vulnerability, she seized her chance and executed a flawless maneuver that sent him sprawling onto the ground. The crowd erupted into cheers as admiration for Sarah reached new heights. It was not just her agility that impressed them. It was her ability to remain calm under pressure, while the Admiral allowed his emotions to dictate his actions. The balance of power had shifted dramatically. The once steadfast leader had been humbled by a determined recruit who refused to back down. As the dust settled and tension hung in the air, it was clear that this battle of wills would not simply end with brute strength. It would be defined by skill and strategy, qualities that Sarah had in abundance. The atmosphere was electric as the fight reached its climax, with the crowd fully invested in every move. Sarah felt the adrenaline coursing through her veins, her heart pounding in rhythm with the cheers of her fellow recruits. The Admiral, now visibly frustrated and desperate to regain control, launched himself at her once more, his movements fueled by anger rather than precision. Sarah observed him closely. She had already anticipated his next attack. As he lunged forward, with another wild punch aimed at her head, she ducked low, narrowly avoiding the strike once again. This time, however, she wasn't just defending herself. She was preparing for a decisive counterattack. With her opponent off balance from overextending, Sarah quickly swept her leg around in a stunning kick that caught his side, forcing him to stagger backward. The crowd erupted into cheers and gasps as she seized the moment. She knew this was her chance. With a fierce determination in her eyes, Sarah charged forward, closing the distance between them in a heartbeat. The Admiral's expression shifted from anger to shock as he realized he had underestimated her skill entirely. Using her training to her advantage, Sarah executed a series of rapid strikes that left him reeling. Each move was precise and calculated, leading him further into a vulnerable position as she expertly maintained the upper hand. Finally, she saw the opening she had been waiting for. As the Admiral attempted to grapple with her, she sidestepped and locked his wrist in a firm grip with both hands. With a powerful twist of her body and a sharp movement of her arms, Sarah applied pressure that sent shockwaves through his limbs. The crowd held its breath as they watched the unbelievable unfold. With a skillful maneuver, she broke both of the Admiral's wrists in one swift motion. A deafening silence fell over the arena for just a heartbeat before an eruption of cheers filled the air. The recruits surged forward with excitement, their admiration for Sarah reaching new heights. They had witnessed not just a display of physical strength, but also sheer resolve and strategy in action. The Admiral fell to his knees, pain etched across his face as he realized what had just happened. This was no longer just a fight. It had transformed into a battle for respect and recognition, a moment that would be talked about for years to come. Sarah stood tall, breathing heavily but victorious, solidifying her place as an inspiring figure among her peers, and proving that true strength comes from determination and skill. As the dust began to settle from the intense fight, the atmosphere shifted dramatically among the 5,000 recruits and officers present. What had just unfolded was not merely a battle of strength. It was a monumental moment that would change the dynamics of authority and respect within the ranks. The crowd erupted into enthusiastic cheers, their voices echoing across the training camp as they celebrated Sarah's victory over the Admiral. Recruits rushed forward, their faces lit with excitement and admiration for Sarah. Some clapped her on the back, while others shouted her name in recognition of her courage and skill. It was a powerful sight to witness. The once intimidating figure of the Admiral now kneeling in defeat, while Sarah stood tall, breathing heavily but victorious. The display of bravery she exhibited against such an imposing authority figure resonated deeply with everyone present. Among the officers watching from the sidelines, reactions varied. Some expressed shock, their expressions a mix of disbelief and awe. Others whispered among themselves, pondering how this event would shift the perception of authority within the camp. Many had never witnessed someone stand up to the Admiral in such a remarkable way, and it challenged their understanding of leadership and respect. As whispers of admiration spread through the crowd, Sarah became a symbol of empowerment for those who felt overshadowed by authority. She had defied expectations and showcased that true strength comes not just from rank, but from determination and skill. Many recruits approached her, eager to learn from her experience and inspired by her tenacity. On the other hand, the Admiral's stunned expression reflected his internal struggle. He had always been viewed as unbeatable, a staunch figure who demanded respect through fear. Now he faced not only physical pain, but also a significant blow to his reputation and authority. The realization that he had been bested by a determined recruit would linger in his mind as a humbling experience. As Sarah stood in front of her fellow recruits, she felt an overwhelming sense of pride wash over her. She was no longer just another recruit. She had become a leader in her own right, someone who inspired others to rise against challenges and question authority when necessary. In that moment, she solidified her place as a respected figure among her peers, a warrior whose courage would be talked about for years to come in the military training camp and beyond. The aftermath of the fight left a lasting impact on the recruits, serving as a powerful lesson in courage, resilience, and the importance of standing up for oneself. Sarah's victory over the Admiral was more than just a display of martial skill. It symbolized the potential that lay within each recruit to challenge traditional notions of authority. In a world where conformity often overshadowed individuality, her actions spoke volumes about the strength that comes from believing in oneself. As the recruits gathered to discuss the event, conversations swirled around them like wildfire. Many shared their awe at Sarah's bravery, reflecting on how her determination had inspired them to think differently about their own abilities. They began to understand that courage isn't just about physical strength. It's also about standing firm in one's beliefs and fighting for what is right, even against overwhelming odds. For many recruits, Sarah became a beacon of hope and empowerment. Her triumph over the Admiral demonstrated that anyone could defy expectations and rise above challenges if they were willing to put in the effort. They realized that resilience is not merely enduring pain or hardship, but adapting and thriving in difficult circumstances. It taught them that true strength lies in creativity and intelligence as much as in raw power. Moreover, Sarah's victory fostered an environment of encouragement and camaraderie among the recruits. They began to see each other as allies rather than competitors, motivated by a newfound sense of unity inspired by her example. This shift was palpable. Friendships blossomed rooted in shared experiences and mutual respect. Officers observed these changes as well, recognizing that they needed to embrace a leadership style that encouraged dialogue instead of fear. The fight had sparked conversations about authority, about how true leaders inspire through respect rather than intimidation. It prompted discussions on revising training methods to focus on nurturing individual strengths rather than enforcing conformity. As time went on, Sarah's story circulated through the ranks, becoming legendary among future recruits. Her bravery would be recounted during training sessions, serving as a reminder for all that courage can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Above all, it reinforced the belief that standing up for oneself can change not just individual destinies, but also reshape communities for the better. In reflecting on this significant event, it became clear to all involved: courage is contagious, and when one person dares to stand tall against adversity, it empowers others to do the same. This lesson would echo throughout their military careers, reminding them that strength is forged not only in battles fought, but also in the hearts nurtured along the way. The remarkable events at the training camp serve as a testament to the power of empowerment and bravery. Sarah's journey from an anxious recruit to a celebrated champion illustrates how courage can spark significant change, inspiring not only herself, but countless others around her. Her victory over the Admiral was not simply about winning a fight. It represented breaking barriers, challenging authority, and embodying the belief that anyone can stand up against seemingly insurmountable obstacles. This moment transcended beyond the physical battle. It became a symbol for all recruits. The cheers that echoed after Sarah's triumph were not just for her skill, but for a shift in mindset among her peers. They learned that true strength lies in resilience and the courage to confront fears head-on. Every recruit who witnessed this event walked away with newfound hope, understanding that they too could rise above challenges and expectations set upon them. The lessons learned during this pivotal encounter remind us that empowerment is contagious. When one individual steps forward to defy adversity, it inspires others to do the same. The courage displayed by Sarah encouraged her fellow recruits to explore their own potential, fortifying their belief in their abilities as they faced their own battles ahead. Whether in training or life, standing up for oneself undoubtedly resonates deeply, leading to personal growth and transformation. As they move forward in their military careers or any other path they choose, these recruits carry with them the spirit of resilience exemplified by Sarah. They are now equipped with the understanding that challenges are not merely obstacles, but opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Each time they face adversity, they will remember Sarah's story, a story of guts and determination where vulnerability turned into unmatched strength. In conclusion, let this event be a reminder that every struggle has the power to shape us into stronger individuals. The courage to challenge authority, to believe in oneself amidst doubt, and to embrace resilience is what truly defines our strength. Empowerment begins within, and just like Sarah showed us on that unforgettable day, we all possess the capacity to rise and inspire those around us through our actions. Let her legacy serve as motivation for all facing their own battles. Be brave, stand tall, and never hesitate to fight for what you believe in, because true strength comes from within.